Hello and welcome back to Business Class. I just want to start by saying thank you so much for everyone that listens. I feel like I say thank you maybe too much, but honestly, it just blows me away how many people listen to this podcast and how many messages I get. It makes me emotional. It makes me happy. And I love doing it. I truly love a yap. Like if you know me, you know I love a yap. I could speak all day. And what I've realized about podcasting is it's kind of like a skill. Like I just kind of thought I just sat here and spoke. You've really got to have some structure. Like that's why I've got like my phone or some cue cards. And let me tell you, interviewing a guest is a skill. Like to try and get what you want to say in the conversation whilst listening to them, like hitting certain points that you want to say. It is a skill and I feel I'm quite good at it. So today I am doing a solo episode, which I would be so intrigued to know if you prefer guests or solo episodes, or maybe you like both and it's just like a nice blend. But I just really like the idea of doing some guests, some solo, so that it's not just guest, because I feel like when I think of the podcasts I listen to that are like businessy podcasts that just have guests on them all the time, it's like, I want to hear some of the actual, what's it called? Like the podcast owner. Like I want to hear the podcast host do some by themselves. And sometimes not all of the guests excite me. I'm going to be real and I don't listen. So I thought it's nice to have a blend of solo and guest. So today I am doing listeners' dilemmas. I love doing these. I love that you send these in. As far as I know, I haven't seen another business podcast do these. So I'm really glad that there is a space where we can speak about the hard shit that goes on in business, because my golly gosh, it is hard. So I'm going to do my takeoffs and my departures. Takeoffs is that I have just freshly touched on the UK soil. I have been in Santorini for a week for a business retreat. And oh my God, it was stunning. It was absolutely stunning. The weather was amazing. I've got a fresh tan. I've come back with a tattoo. Like, who am I coming back with a tattoo? I am not a spontaneous person. So the tattoo that I got, I feel like you're either going to love this or you're going to cringe and hate it, but I don't care because I love it. The tattoo that I got is on my left wrist and it says, "Let Them," from Mel Robbins' book. Funny story, I actually haven't finished reading that book, but I get the premise and I love the premise. So it just says "Let Them" because for me, that was like the takeaway I got from the retreat. Like a lot of the retreat this year was like me speaking a lot about other people's opinions, about managing a team, about stressing about the small stuff. And that is like a reoccurring theme for me. Like on every retreat I go to, I feel like that's always what I speak about. So it was mainly about that. And I feel like I just really had like a slap in the face this time. And it was like, just let them. Like, stop giving so much energy to the smallest things and to people that don't even care about you. So to me, let them. Yes, it's from Mel Robbins' book. Yes, I know it's trendy right now, but this means and holds like so much to me and reminds me of this retreat and the time of my life that I'm in right now. And it's already helped me. Like when we were at the airport yesterday, no, not yesterday, like 2 days ago when we were leaving, we were in the queue, like getting some food. I think I was just getting a classic plain burger like I do. And a lady just cut in front of me. And my first instinct would be to like, well, am I okay? My first instinct would to get, oh my God, am I okay? It's because I've not filmed a podcast in like a few weeks. My first instinct was to get annoyed and to be like, I wouldn't do that. That's so rude. Where are her manners? Like, I do get quite hyped up when manners are out of the window. But I literally just looked at my tattoo. I said, "Let them." And I literally just let her push in front. I smiled at her. I didn't say anything. And it felt so freeing. Like I felt really relaxed. And I was like, God, this is so much better than like getting annoyed or like telling her to go to the back of the queue. And then I feel awkward. So that was a really long story about why I got that tattoo. I love it. I've not got many tattoos. I've only got three little baby tiny ones. My departure was that just before I went away, I had like the biggest cry I have had, not going to lie, in like a year. Like to the point where I went lightheaded. My fiance, that sounds so gross to say. I'm not someone that likes saying fiance, but my partner was sat next to me, like he didn't know what to do. I literally like blacked out because I was crying so much. I couldn't breathe. And I'm obviously not going to go into specifics of why it is, because I think when you own a business, you know, you can't always go into it. But the long story short of it was that I was just quite exhausted. Like it was one of those weeks where everything was going wrong. Like everything. I had like legal stuff, client stuff, team stuff, social media stuff. I was literally like, how is this physically possible? How do I manage all this? Like how? And I just had a complete breakdown. Like I just sobbed and cried and cried and cried for hours. And my partner, Matt, he never really knows what to say to me in those moments. I feel like, I don't know if that's a man thing. I don't know. He's not the best with emotions, bless him. I've trained him a little bit, but he doesn't really know what to say. And he just looked at me and said, "Why don't you quit then?" And I was like, first of all, I was like, that's not a good piece of advice. But he was kind of right. Like, not by saying I should quit, but it made me think like, what? Of course I'm not going to quit. And then it makes you realize like, you need to keep going. Like that was a low, like a low. And it always comes just before I go on a retreat. So the retreat really pulled me back out of it. But it just makes me really think about how fake social media is, because that same day, I think I was posting like a August recap or my highs and lows of August, and I'd posted a collab and stuff on my story, and it made me feel like an absolute phony for posting that stuff because I was so unhappy that week. But that is the hardest part about being in business, is that you can't compare yourself to anyone else. People can sometimes only show the highlights. I couldn't have gone on my story and said, I'm having a breakdown and here's why, because loads of reasons. It's like, I don't want people to know I'm upset. I don't want to be perceived as someone that gets upset, even though I'll tell everyone on my podcast because I can. But it just made me think like, how many other people have this and they don't share it? If I don't share it, there's loads of other things people don't share. So yeah, it was a good cry. I felt really good after it. Like I felt really refreshed and like I needed it. And I feel a lot better. I feel really good at the minute. Like I'm refreshed. I've come back. I'm tanned. Always better. Life is better with a tan. So yeah, I thought I would just share that. And I really hope you know that like if you are going through one of those weeks right now that we all get, that is just absolutely hell, and you're like, what more can happen? You are truly not alone. And when I was at this retreat and I was sharing all my problems, it made my problems feel really small, because all these women, basically all of them were American. It was amazing. They were like, oh my God, I'm going through the same thing. And like, it just makes you feel so comforted, and they share how they've overcome it. And it made me feel like all my problems were literally lifted off my shoulders. So that was a really long intro, but I just needed a bit of a ramble today. So I'm going to jump in to the dilemmas that you've sent in. If you've got any dilemmas you want to send in for the next episode, please DM me. Before I get into it, please can you do me the hugest favor and rate this podcast 5 stars? I know it's so annoying when people ask you to do that, but it does help. The more 5-star ratings we get, the more people we get pushed out to. So that would mean the world to me if you could do that. Let's get into the dilemmas now. Okay, so dilemma number 1 that I've got today. Hey Vicky, I love the podcast. Thank you so much. I need some advice if possible. I hired my first employee 6 months ago and it is just not working out. They're not meeting deadlines. I'm basically redoing their work. Been there. And the vibe is so off between us. But I feel, in all capitals, sick at the thought of firing them. Like I am the bad guy and I'm going to be perceived as the villain in the situation. How do you even do it without ruining your reputation or feeling like you are the villain? Please help. So firing people is probably one of the hardest things that you are going to do when you get a team. I've done it a couple of times now. It does get easier, I will say. Like, the more you do it, it gets easier, like anything else. You are going to feel like the bad guy. You are going to have to accept the fact that they are going to go home and tell their families, their friends, that you were wrong in this situation. But one piece of advice I got recently that I did mention in one of my recent episodes, but I'm going to say it again because it's really resonated with me, that I got from Lucy, who owns Six Stories, that came on the podcast, was that if you are firing someone and letting them go and they are completely taken by surprise, then you have done a bad job as a manager. But if you are letting someone go and they are expecting it, then you've done your job as a manager. And to me, that it really stuck with me, because I think when I did my first firing or letting someone go, I feel like I can imagine they would have taken it as quite a shock, because I was so new to being a manager that I didn't know about disciplinary policies, or I was terrified to confront them about things. So I bottled up a lot of the feelings that I was having. And looking back now, I would have handled the whole situation so differently. So I think when you are feeling like this, it's really important to think about what accountability can you take? And I know this is really, really hard to do, and you have to put your ego aside a little bit. But when someone is doing the work wrong and you're having to redo it, when someone is, slacking, when their attitude's bad, it is somewhat your fault. And I know that is just such harsh advice to give, but there's some sort of miscommunication, or there's not really clear expectations. So put something together and think about, if you were in their shoes, what is making them take your leadership the wrong way? Are you not being clear enough? Are you not telling them exactly what to do? Because I have been there before, where I've had members of staff and they are really slacking with their work, not handing it in on time. You get frustrated, and then I go, well, hold on a minute. I don't actually think I made it really super clear when I need this done by, and what will happen, if I don't get this done on time. So a lot of it is about aligning expectations. When you are a team as well and you're employing people, you can also have your employee handbook, and that can go over everything from attitude to dress code to client communication, how you perceive yourself as a team. And just having that written up and going over that again with them is really helpful. And like I said before, do the numbers test, get them to rank out of 10, sit down with them, get them to speak, sit down and say, how do you feel like your time management is out of 10? And see where you align. Because what I've learned is, although you might think people are quite not very self-aware and they are irritating or annoying and you're annoyed at them, people are pretty self-aware. I feel like I'm aware of when I'm doing a good job at work and when I'm not. And if someone directly says, be truthful with me now, are you doing a good job? I'll be like, do you know what? No. So the first thing I would do is think about what you could be doing better as a leader. Put your ego aside, look at what you could be doing better to lead this person. Second, get those questions up, all aspects of the job, time management, attitude, creativity, whatever it might be in your job field, get them to rank out of 10, and you also rank them out of 10, see where your answers align. If for some rare reason you're in a position where this person is 10 out of 10 for time management, that's when you can then say, okay, well, I've actually put, a 6 because of this. And then we need to put basically KPIs in place to make sure they have got something to work towards. So if they think their time management is amazing and you've said it's not great, I would then go in and say, okay, well, this, it could be a week, it could be a month, needs to improve. When we sit down in a week or a month, we need to have this back up to a 10. And if it's not, we're going to have to look at other options. But when you are an employer, you can't, you're asking in this, about potentially firing them. You can't just fire someone on the spot. You have to have your verbal warning, your written warning. You have to go through all these processes. If you're unsure on what that is, give it a Google, because I could not recite it to you right now. But yeah, go through all of those steps first. But a lot of it just starts out with a conversation and communication. I've been there when I have that weird tension with a team member sometimes, and it might feel like they don't like you right now. And when I just ask them, how actually are you right now? Do you enjoy your job? What are you finding difficult? 9 times out of 10, you'll get the answers out of them and you'll feel pretty satisfied with it and it'll make sense. I do think, we forget when we are a leader that they're people. We are people. Everyone has emotions. Everyone has feelings. And when you have a team, it feels very corporate and very serious. And like, you can't speak about feelings and emotions and you can't get emotional. Like, it is so normal to feel awful when you're firing someone. But also on the sort of flip side of that is the only part I would say to take the emotion out of is looking at things like your profit, like your revenue. If you are just spending money on this team member just to keep them there, just so you don't, hurt their feelings, like that's unfair on you. It's losing you money. So you also have to think, like, is this person making me money? Because in the long run, you're just going to lose more money from it and you're going to resent them and you're going to wish you'd done it a lot sooner. So I feel like when I have that feeling, sometimes I've not done it many times where I feel like maybe someone's not the right fit for the team, I'll just look at like, are they making us money right now? Is there something more I can do to get them in a place where they can be growing with us as a team? But also just think like, it's normal. I had one of my best friends recently had to let someone go and she was really nervous for it, but it will get easier and it does feel like a weight is lifted off your shoulders once you've done it. And I always just think it's hard right now, but in a year's time, you'll look back and be like, thank God I did it. But everyone's been there. We've all been there. If you've been a leader, it is so, so hard. But it can also be the best thing that you do for that person. If they're not happy and flourishing in the role right now, you're kind of doing them a favor, even though it might not feel like it right now. So that's the best advice I would give for that one. Second one I've got says, hey, so I've just realized I've been massively undercharging my clients. I quoted £300 for something that realistically should have been about £1,500. Now they keep coming back for more and more at that same price. Do I just suck it up because I agreed to the original price, or is there a way to raise my rates without looking unprofessional? Okay, I've also been here. I'm trying to think how I best handled this when I did it. I think when I was in this position, it was because we were growing at quite a rapid rate. So say, for example, we took someone on in like the start of the year and we might have been charging them like £500 a month. Then 3 months down the line, we've got more demand. So we've raised our prices and we've still got this person in at £500 a month that's being a bit of a nightmare. I think you've got to weigh up a few things here with clients that you are undercharging for. So I look at like, how easy are they to manage as a client? In terms of like, is the work easy to do? And also, are they easy to work with? Because if someone is a bit more of a challenge, sometimes you're like, I've got to up the price for this. What I would do is say, if you've honored that price, I would look at what you've got there in terms of like your contract or your notice period. So like for us, we have a 3-month, not probation period, 3-month contract. So you sign up, you're locked in for that 3 months. So what I would do is, if you've honored a month or 3 months, wait till you get to the end of that and then say, since taking you on, we've increased our prices. You can go into why that is. You can also offer them like a different option if it feels like too big of a jump. Because if you said £300 up to £1,500, that's a huge jump for someone. So I would then look at like, but for you, we can do it for 800, or we can stagger it. So it'd be, 500 next month, then 800 the next month, and then so on, so on. So you can give them a few different options. But also, you are like well within your rights to be like, do you know what, £300, I'm really undercharging there. So you can just say, unfortunately, if it can't increase, we must move any further. Don't say that at the start. I would go in with that after a bit of haggling and back and forth. But yeah, I think it depends how long you've had them for. If it's like you've been with them for a year, hopefully that's when you can say, I hope you see the value in our services and that you're happy to continue. As you've been a long-standing client, I'm happy to provide you with a discount on this service. But ultimately, it is just part of growing a business. Like, we've been through that really awkward stage where we've got some people paying literally nothing a month, and some people are paying huge amounts a month, but they're getting the exact same thing. It's just a fact of when they came in. And slowly over the past year, the smaller clients have naturally just trickled out for many different reasons. It might just be a short-term project. It might be that they don't want to pay the new prices. But now we've got everyone on sort of the prices that we want them to be on. But it's a natural part of growing. It's exciting. But it's not unprofessional, so don't worry about it looking unprofessional. Okay, next one we've got is, hey Vic, love the pod. First of all, I love that you called me Vic, because I'd say my closest friends and family call me Vic. And whenever someone calls me Vic, it's like an instant, like, we're tight. I don't know what it is. It's just like, I feel safe with you. It's so cute though. Like, some people will just meet me and call me Vic straight away. And I'm like, oh my God, are we sisters? I just love it. So thanks for calling me that. Hey Vic, I love the pod. I need some honesty. I'm all here for it. I spent months building my first digital product. I hyped it up on Instagram, launched it, and I sold 0. Literally not a single person bought it. I'm really embarrassed, I'm questioning everything, and I'm wondering if I should just delete it and pretend it never happened. Do I pivot, relaunch, or should I take it as a sign that my idea is rubbish? Oh my God, I could speak about this all day. And as per all of these dilemmas, I have been there. I was actually speaking about this to someone when I was away last week, and it really helped them. So I'm hoping that this will help you as well. So the thing is, when you are launching something, you have to think about, like, not every launch is going to be a success, and you learn a lot from every launch. And what brings me comfort is that even the biggest brands in the world will launch something and it will flop. Like, not every launch is going to be a raging wild success. I'm going to tell you a little bit about when I launched something and it flopped and what I learned from it. So I would say just over a year ago, I wanted to come up with a service that was affordable for people, that can help them grow their social media, but wasn't going to take up like loads of my time. So I came up with my Socially Speaking Academy, which was like an add-on to my agency. So in this offering, I had like a monthly call. I had all like my templates in there. I had access to like a private Instagram story where we shared daily tips, daily advice, and we also shared what was trending every day. So like all the trending audios, trending accounts, you know, just so you're in the loop with it. And I asked around loads of people. They were like, oh my God, this sounds amazing. I definitely buy it. I priced it at £97. And I felt so good about it. I was like, this is going to absolutely fly. Like £97 and you get access to everything you need to basically go viral and to do well on social media. So I was really excited about it. I really hyped it up. I like did this whole countdown. I was like, 2 days, 3 days, 2 days, 1 day left till it launches. I launched it. I was like, oh my God, this is going to be huge. I'm going to make like thousands of pounds off of this. And I think off the top of my head, like 3 people bought it. And I know you're probably thinking like, 3 people, that's not bad. But to me, I was like thinking it would be more like 50 to 100, like, a big masterclass full of people, like a little beehive community of people. And I was like, okay. And I was embarrassed. I didn't know what to do with those 3 people. I was like, should I just, because they're going to be sat on the masterclass with 3 of them and me, and we're going to be sat there like, where are the other people? So I was really taken aback by it. I was embarrassed. I wanted to delete it. I wanted to just refund the people and be like, it's not worked. But then I had a good chat with my sister, who, if you don't know, is the managing director of my company, and she has the best ideas. And we sat down and spoke about it, and I was like, what is the issue here? Because I had loads of interest for it. Like when I did a story about it, like I had loads of people that were interested. When I spoke to people about it, I had loads of people interested in it. So I was like, what is the issue here? So we sat down and looked at it and thought, is it the price point? Is it that we're not offering enough? Is it that we've launched it at a random time? So what we did was we created a different tier. So we created a lower tier that was a lower price point, And we basically just offered a bit less. So we didn't offer the same thing for the same price because that would be underselling myself. We literally just said, if you pay £27, that's the basic membership. And in that membership, you get access to the masterclass every month about going viral. So we launched the new basic tier and literally sold like 100 in a week. And I was like, whoa. And we had struck gold with it. So the problem for us wasn't the offering. It wasn't that people didn't like it. It wasn't the idea. It was the price point. And that really just shifted things in my brain to think like, okay, like I can learn from everything that I launch. So my best advice for you, if you've launched something and no one's bought it, don't delete it. Don't be embarrassed about it. Like it literally happens to all of us, but no one is speaking about it. And I can speak about it now, but would I have gone on my story, the day after the launch and said, I only had 3 people sign up? That's so embarrassing. No, because, it is embarrassing at the moment. You don't want people to know. Just learn from it. So think, can you add in another tier? Can you try it at a different price point? Can you outreach to people with a special offer? And another example as well, when you're launching something, it doesn't have to pop off like straight away. So like for us, we launched something else that was like a day, how would I explain it? Like a social media strategy day. And we launched it and I was like, again, being like, oh my God, this is going to pop off. We sold a few, like it did well. But what I have found with that is that it has grown more over time. So like when people can't afford to work with us for our monthly services, they'll go for that. So for me, it's been like a gradual income and now it just sells, we sell them quite regularly now and it does well, but you don't have to sell out on like the first day or the first week. It can just be, I've launched this new offering, it's available on my website, and you might just sell a couple through the year. So don't put so much pressure on yourself for things. Learn from it, do some market research, ask people, add different tiers to it, make it different, make it more accessible. But that is what I have learned from it. But take away from that even, like I said, the most successful businesses, like businesses that you look up to, brands that you shop from, every single day, they launch new things, they launch new products, new services, whatever it might be. And not every single one is going to fly off the shelves. Like there is going to be some stuff that your customers just don't align with, and that's okay. Okay. Next dilemma we've got says, I love the podcast. I've got this problem. Some of my clients don't treat me like a professional, more like I'm just their assistant. They'll WhatsApp me at midnight, miss calls that we schedule in the calendar, and talk down to me when I push back and belittle me. How do I get them to respect my boundaries and see me as an expert, not the help? Girl, I've been there. I keep saying that, but honestly, I've been in all of these situations. So what I would say to people, if you're sort of being, people are taking the piss out of you, quite frankly, is that you are actually allowing them to do that. And again, it's like a pill you've got to swallow. You are allowing them to treat you like that. So say if you're already WhatsApping with them, they're missing calls, etc. What I would do is set new boundaries. If you're starting with them at the start and you're taking on a new client, I would bear this in mind. But because you're already in the thick of it right now, this is what I would say. So in terms of WhatsApp, I would say, moving forward, you can literally just say, I won't be replying after 5 p.m. because this is my work phone. I leave it at work. I won't be contactable outside of these hours. You can just say that. Like a lot of people are like, oh no, I can't say that. They're going to be annoyed. A lot of people respect you more for putting those boundaries in place. So for me, I haven't got many people business and client wise that I WhatsApp, but if I do, I'll make it really clear, like I won't be replying on a weekend, I won't be replying after 5 p.m. Like you won't even see a message from me. If you are genuinely too scared to say that, just don't reply outside of hours and they'll know, oh, she's obviously not replying. And then just be like, oh, I've just come into the office and seen your messages. Thanks for being patient. The first one is just telling them. When people are missing calls that you schedule in, you have got to be a bit firm. Like, I think it's fine when someone misses a call. It depends how important it is. But say for me, if someone misses I don't know, it could be like just like a 15-minute catch-up call. It happens. Like I miss calls sometimes, they miss calls. I'll just be like, no worries, let's reschedule. If it's becoming recurring, like it's every single month, I would literally just say like we have a new policy in place where it's like a missed calls policy or a calls policy or whatever. No-show policy, say. You could say you'll be able to reschedule once, but after that, due to capacity, we won't be able to reschedule. You set the boundaries, like, and that is what's going to put you as the expert, not the help. Because when people see you as the help, it's because they know that, oh, I can just WhatsApp her and she'll do it, or I can just miss this call, she's not important. Like, you are not showing up as someone with importance. So I feel like for me, that has really elevated how I'm perceived by clients. Like when I first started out, I would bend over backwards for clients. Like, you want something doing, I'll do it for free. Like, I'll be at an event for free. I won't charge for my travel. You can have as many calls as you want. You can have my personal phone number. The way you establish the relationship at the start sets the tone for the rest of the working relationship. And I will say as well, like everything, it's not always going to work. Prime example is I had a client who was constantly WhatsApping me. Literally, it would be at weekends. I'd be at wellness events. I was trying to buy my house at this time, and it was constant messaging. So I put together an email and basically just said, moving forward, I won't be contactable outside of hours. I'll put you in touch with an account manager just so you've got, 2 points of call here. And they weren't happy about it at all. Like, they were like, no, I want to work with you directly. My business is very fast paced. I need someone on call all the time. And I was like, that's just not me. And we lost the client. And yes, it was a bit shit, but also I am not being stressed out over that. Like, I was in a good position where I was like, you can go. And it felt really good. And it felt really powerful. And I learned from that relationship what not to do in my next one. So when someone joined next time and they asked for my WhatsApp, I was like, I can give you my email or I can give you my work number. But just so you know, like, when I'm on my work phone, I leave it at the office at 5 and you won't hear from me after that. Because I think naturally, when you give out your phone number or your WhatsApp, boundaries are pushed anyway. Because I personally feel like if you've got someone's phone number, there's the professional boundaries are lost a little bit. If I have to email someone, I'll like structure the email. I'll say, hi, hope you're well, blah, 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 kind regards. If it's a WhatsApp, it'll just be like a quick voice note. It'll be like, hiya, just blah, blah, blah. Or it'll be a text, just checking in on this. And those levels are sort of lost. So I would suggest like writing a list of like what you can put up with and what you won't put up with, and offer other solutions as well. Like, you don't have to go in and be really hard faced and rude and just be like, you can't speak to me. Like, you can say, rather than WhatsApping, why don't we book in a time each week to catch up, and just offer them something else rather than just being like, no, it's going away. And you can also speak about why. So one thing that I would say to a lot of clients is, I can't be available to you all the time because I'm working on your content. So the more time I'm, speaking to you, the less time I've got to work on your content. I need to allocate my expertise somewhere that I'm better suited, if that makes sense. Okay, let me see what we've got next. So the next one says, hey girl, I run socials for lots of clients, but I never post on my own page. Yes. By the time I finish their content, I can't face making anything for me, but I know I'm leaving money and opportunities on the table by not building my own personal brand or account. How do I actually make time for it without burning out? So this is going to be a really hard truth that I'm going to give to anyone that works in social media. And it is that your social media profile is your portfolio. And whenever I speak about this stuff, it really rubs people the wrong way. And I think it's because I'm low-key triggering something in them a little bit. I've been there before, and when people used to say to me, like, you need to work on your own page, I'd be like, oh my God, do you know how busy I am? And I would attack them for even suggesting that. But it truly is your portfolio, and you have almost got to put it above your client work. Like, you have to prioritize yourself as your own client. And the reason why I feel comfortable speaking on this is because I've been there. Like, I have been, when I wasn't when I didn't have a team and I wasn't doing when I wasn't doing all the work, what am I trying to say? When I was by myself, basically, is what I'm trying to say. And I was doing the clients and I was doing our page, I was burnt out and I was like, oh my God, how can I do all of it? What I would do personally is I would schedule out time to treat myself as my own client. And the reason why I'm so passionate about telling this to people is because you are literally leaving money and opportunities on the table. Like, you're not being seen as a leader. You're losing out on clients. Unfortunately, I always say to everyone, unfortunately, the world we live in is very, very shallow, and people will go for someone who has like a bigger following and who is posting more regularly. And almost every client I speak to on like a sales call will say they've gone to us because they loved our socials and they see that we're getting results and that we're posting regularly. You just have to think about it logically. Like, if I was looking for a social media manager and I went on their page and they've not posted in 3 weeks and they've only got 4 posts on their page, why would I pay them to do it? It's like if you're looking for a wedding photographer and they've only got pictures of dogs and cats on their page, like, it doesn't make any sense. So I know you're going to hate me for saying that. I know you might not agree and you're like, oh my God, but I'm just so busy looking after all my clients. Like, I have been there. But you have to start treating it like it is your client's page. And if it's like totally, totally unrealistic for you to do that right now, don't go all hard in on it. Just try and get, 2 or 3 really good posts out a week just to keep the account active and show people what you're doing. But it is hard. It is so hard to do everything, especially when you haven't got a team. But honestly, like, it is hands down the best thing that I ever did. And then when you start to focus on that more and that grows and you get more clients in, you can actually hire someone to do it for you, or hire like a VA or a freelancer to do it for you. Okay. The next one we've got says, please help. My best friend asked me for a mate's rates deal on my services. I felt awkward and caved, and I gave her a huge discount, and now she's my most demanding client. I don't want to ruin our friendship, but I also do feel like I'm being taken advantage of. How do you handle friends as clients? So it's always a hard one. I was definitely guilty of doing a lot of service swaps in the beginning, where I would meet people on retreats or events and they would really excite me what they did. I'd be like, oh my God, I want to work with you. And they'd be like, I want to work with you. Let's do a swap. And I would say literally not one of them worked out well. Just because I think there's always going to be someone that's got the better end of the deal. Like, there's always going to be, it's either going to be you doing a lot more than them or they're doing a lot more than you. And there's going to be some resentment there. And also, I think when you are doing something for mates rates, you're naturally not going to put as much effort into it because it's like you've got higher paying clients that you need to focus on. It's not the end of the world if like you don't get, something over to your mate in 2 days' time. So I would say personally, I don't do those anymore. If there is something that I'm going to do that is like a service swap, I wouldn't do a swap anymore. I would take the payment and I would also pay them. So I wouldn't do like a freebie swap, would be the first thing I would say. But like anything else, like, you've just got to go over with the boundaries. From what you're saying, it seems like you are, you're already working with her and she's your most demanding client. So it depends where you want to go with it. If you want to protect the friendship and you want to, keep things civil, keep being friendly with each other, you can literally just say, that you've not got the capacity anymore, or it could be you're moving the business in a different direction. Like, you can tell a little white lie just to, save the feelings. If you do want to go about it in a more confrontational way, you could just say, just want to remind you of what your offerings are, and we're going a bit outside of this at the minute. Or something really simple I do for people that are being really demanding to us is just like really politely say, so say if someone's like, oh, can you like just quickly put an Instagram story up for me today? Or can you just quickly edit a reel today? I'll literally just say like, of course, that's going to cost X amount of pounds. Where would you like that invoice to? And when you say that, they're like, oh, never mind. because it's making it clear that like you're not just doing everything for free. So I think it depends what relationship you want to maintain with this person. Me personally, this is just me personally, because I know not everyone is the same. I don't like to mix friends with work. I, moving forward, wouldn't have like a friend as a client. I wouldn't open a business with a friend just because I don't think it works. That's just me personally saying that. But I think if you're in this position right now, you can either just send her a little message and just say, you know, we're at full capacity, you're going in a different direction, or you can literally just be honest with her and say how you're feeling. Okay, the next one we've got says, hello, Vicky. I love listening to the podcast and tune in every week. Thank you. So my dilemma is I've been saying yes to everything at the minute and now I'm drowning. I've doubled my client list in the last 3 months, but I'm not sleeping. I'm missing stuff. And honestly, the work isn't at its best. I feel like I'm going to burn out. Every time I speak to someone, they tell me to just hire someone, but I don't feel ready yet to manage people. Do I need to slow down or push through? Great question. So, I would say if you are feeling like you're not ready to manage people yet, I would ask yourself why. And then I would also think about, you know, you don't have to hire someone or manage people. It can just be that you get a freelancer who is pretty self-sufficient because you don't technically have to manage them and they're not like your responsibility. And if it doesn't work out, you can just stop working with them. Obviously, I think depending on the freelancer, some have like a week's notice, 2 weeks notice. You can do it project to project. That is honestly the best advice I'd give you. But you've got to think about what your long-term vision is. So when I was in this same position, when I was like still living at home, I was growing really fast. And my mum was like, Vic, I think you need to slow down because I was just reaching like the VAT threshold. And she was like, that is a lot of money to pay. And you're going to have to manage a team. And it gave me some anxiety, but I knew I wanted to run a bigger business. Like I knew that I wanted a team. Don't know if I would agree with that now, but I knew I wanted a team at the time. So you must have some sort of inkling as to whether, you know, moving forward, you want it to be just you or you want it to be a team. But I would say personally, if I was in your position, I would hire a freelancer, and learn from them, like not from them, but I would learn from that experience about how you are as a manager. Because even though you're not managing them all the time like you would be managing an employee, you are somewhat managing them. So it's dependent on what you personally want to do. I can't tell you whether you should slow down or push through, but I feel like I have been in that position where you are overworking, you're slipping up on things, work isn't the best that it could be, and you do need some sort of like relief from that. So my personal advice would be to get a freelancer that has got some expertise within your field. So, you know, I'm in social media, so I would hire like a social media freelancer who can just swoop in. They know what they're doing. They've got experience. I don't really need to manage them and they just sort it out for me. That is the best advice I can give you. Okay, last dilemma I will do, because I feel like this has been a very chatty one, is saying about potentially quitting their business. So they said, when do you actually admit a business isn't working? I've been at mine for 2 years. It's not making enough to live on. And I feel like I'm constantly working with no reward. Everyone says don't give up too soon, but I can't tell if I'm being resilient or just delusional. So I think it depends like whether your heart is in it or not. Because I think when your heart is in something and you feel, you know, you do feel a bit delusional and a bit like, no, it's going to work. It's going to work. Like, keep going. And I know that's the worst advice, keep going. But success doesn't happen overnight. Even like 2 years, you know, if you think about like, I was listening to a podcast before about J.K. Rowling, who wrote Harry Potter. I think it took her like, I don't know how many, but many years to get Harry Potter published. And now it's like one of the best-selling books in the world. So many people I look up to, it's taken them like 10, 20 years to build something. So I would first think about that. And then I would secondly think about like, what are things you can do right now to really get it taken off the ground? Because you probably are a bit comfortable at the minute. Like, I feel like you know when you're pushing yourself and when you're not, and when you feel like you're giving up. The advice I give to everyone is to just get yourself like on TikTok, because you can grow a business, and on Instagram, I suppose, but TikTok's a lot easier. You can grow a business rapidly fast on TikTok. You can have your business blow up overnight. You can sell out overnight. Like, it is truly insane. I've done a whole podcast episode on how to go viral, a literal free episode on how to go viral. And it works, and it's blown up my business loads. It's blown up clients' businesses. So I would listen to that and really lock into it. Set yourself like a 30-day challenge where you are doing X, Y, and Z. And then maybe set a time limit on it, and then come back to it in a year or a month and see how you feel. Okay. I think that's all I'm going to do for today, because I think that was quite a good episode. Like, some of those things I was spitting out there, I was like, whoa, how do I know this information? But I really do. I love helping people with business, because I just wish there was something like this when I was growing a business, where it's like someone who's still working on it and still building it, and who isn't like a multi-bajillionaire, you know? It's like I'm still learning about all this stuff. So yes, please do take it with a pinch of salt, because it's just my opinions. So that is all the dilemmas for today. As always, if you want me to go over any specific topics or dilemmas, please do DM them to me on Instagram, Vicky.Owens, or on the business podcast Instagram, which is businessclass.podcast. And yes, have a lovely rest of your day, and I will see you in the next episode of Business Class.